Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the recent 100 Thieves drama that unfolded between the streamer Froste and Nadeshot, who is the creator and owner of 100 Thieves. It's actually one of the more interesting dramas that I've seen in recent memory. Honestly, there's a whole lot to go over, so I don't really want to spend time, like beating around the bush. I kind of just want to get straight into this because there's so much to react to here. First, I'll give you guys a little bit of backstory. So, streamers Froste, Avalanche, Mako, and Classify all were part of a group called The Mob. Now, The Mob, initially, they were somewhat popular. You know, they got a couple hundred viewers or whatever average on their streams. They were a little bit more popular on Twitter, especially because of, like, the meme culture and the funny stuff they posted. That's how I found them. That's how I became fans of The Mob. And honestly, I was fans of The Mob, and I was really happy when they got their 100 Thieves deal, which they got after, you know, basically building a name for themselves, right? And they were given an opportunity to work under 100 Thieves as content creators. And unfortunately, the partnership just wasn't successful. I mean, they did it for a little while and then they cut ties and everything with the org. It's been a long time since that happened now. That's pretty much the backstory. Now, of course, let's go ahead and get back into current time. So, a little while ago, Froste comes onto Twitter to basically start airing out 100 Thieves, and he starts airing out a bunch of problems and whatnot that he had with the company and his time basically being a part of the organization, and talked about some of the things that they dealt with, and the accusations were pretty big, right? So let's go ahead and get into those. Damn, I miss the Mob House. Imagine we had enough money to where we didn't have to stress over where our next meal was coming from. Could have done some big things, but I guess we'll never know. Imagine you put all the effort in when you had an org behind you. Imagine we did, but we were so broke that we literally could not afford to do anything that was worth filming. $2,500 each in rent a month while only getting paid $1,650. There were so many days where we had to skip meals because we couldn't afford to buy food unless we begged our parents to send us money. It's truly a wonder that why Mako wanted to leave the mob and move back home with his family. So these are basically the accusations being made against 100 Thieves that, well, they didn't pay them enough during their time in Los Angeles to really have, you know, like a living situation together. They had to skip meals because, you know, they didn't have enough money to basically buy food. You know, it's being made to sound like a very big struggle, you know what I mean? Like something that people shouldn't have to go through, right? Like you shouldn't have to wonder where your next meal's coming from. You shouldn't have to wonder how you're gonna pay rent, you know? But these were issues that apparently the mob was dealing with. And of course, well, this got a reaction out of 100 Thieves. Owner Nadeshot and founder Nadeshot basically booted up a stream to refute some of the claims, and I want to go over some of the clips between both Froste and Nadeshot's streams individually and kind of piece this all together because there's things I want to talk about from both sides here. First though, I want to introduce this, right? He says that, oh, they didn't have enough money for food, you know what I mean? They had to skip meals even, but this is a picture that Froste posted of his setup during his time with 100 Thieves, and as you can see, there's fucking DoorDash bags laying all over the floor, cups and milkshakes and sodas all over the desk, and empty food wrappers just sitting everywhere. Pretty weird because, you know, this doesn't seem like the room of someone who has to wonder where their next meal is coming from. When I think of someone who, you know, is wondering where their next meal's coming from, I'm thinking of, you know, like a homeless veteran on the sidewalk, right? Living in a tent. Maybe he doesn't know where his next meal's coming from. He doesn't know if the soup kitchen will be open today, or if someone will be kind enough to give him some money to go buy something. Or like a kid in third world Africa, right? You know, maybe he doesn't know where his next meal's coming from, and he doesn't have any idea how to even really procure any food or anything, right? But you have privileged ass streamers sitting in a circle, an aura, if you will, of DoorDash bags saying, oh, I don't know where my next meal's gonna come from. It really just doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't add up, and on top of that, it just comes off as extremely fucking tone deaf. Like, there's people in the world legitimately starving to death, and you're saying, oh, you don't know where your next meal's coming from, when you've got basically $6,000 of DoorDash in your office, right? Doesn't really come off the best way. Now, I want to get into some of the clips and everything and start discussing this drama a little bit more because there's a lot from both sides worth reacting to, but I wanted to make that point really quickly because it just doesn't add up, man. So,
not just move into any house we want. We literally, we had to be within 10 to 15 minutes of Nadeshot's house. Now, keep in mind, Nadeshot's house is in the center of Los Angeles, right? One of the most expensive cities in the world, in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the most expensive city in the world. The man's house is valued at over $10 million, bro. How are we supposed to find a house that's within 10 to 15 minutes of that, that's less than 10 grand? Okay, you guys saw the house we were living in. You all saw the house we were living in. It wasn't a fucking mansion, bro. It was a 3-bedroom house, right? Like Avalanche, his room, you could barely fit a fucking bed in it.
So in this clip, he's explaining basically why this house cost them 10 grand a month. He points out, you know, Los Angeles, especially being within 10 to 15 minutes of Nadeshot's, the prices are going to be pretty high, you know what I mean? And that is understandable until he basically proved his point wrong just a few seconds later.
And they decided that they wanted to live.
Zillow listings. All of LA. 4 bedrooms. Like, the options in question, bro. 2,000 square feet. Like, 8K. This is an apartment. These are apartments for 6 grand almost.
As you can see by that clip, pretty much every single house that he showed on Zillow was actually under $10,000 a month, which is weird because he makes it out like there's just no way that that could happen, right? Like, you can't find anywhere for under 10 grand a month in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, he has 3 whole pages worth of them pulled up on Zillow in front of everybody. Like, nothing Froste has said really adds up. That's the problem. Like, he actively has disproven with his own actions and own words everything that he's been saying so far. That's why I find it hard to take it seriously. And I just want to make this point, you know, he's like, you could barely fit a bed in Avalanche's room, you know what I mean? It wasn't a fucking mansion, it was a 3-bedroom house. Dude, sometimes you have to make do with the situation you're in. You were given an opportunity by one of the largest esports organizations in the world to become official content creators for them. They paid you a base salary of $60,000 a year to play fucking video games online, to make content with your best friends. Do you know how many people would kill for an opportunity like that? To get paid 60 grand a year to play video games? And keep in mind, that isn't even like the top of it, right? Like, he could have made money from streaming, from sponsorships, from merch, so many different other avenues for revenue that creators have taken advantage of traditionally. But of course, he didn't. He didn't take advantage of these things. He didn't take advantage of these opportunities. But he wants to complain about the situation that they were in. So let me go ahead and tell you guys a little story here about my YouTube career, okay? I would come home from school every single fucking day throughout middle and high school, and I would be working on YouTube. I would be making videos. I would be finding content ideas. I would be making strategies. I would be sitting here obsessing over this. When I was in high school, working my ass off for minimum wage in the back of a fucking pizza shop for a company that never cared about me, working my ass off for this company that didn't care about me, the only thing on my mind was how can I make this YouTube shit take off. I spent the last $100 to my name on a microphone. That microphone was what helped me lead my YouTube career further. And it helped me a lot. Fast forward a little bit, I finally start making money off YouTube. I finally start getting the opportunity to chase this shit. I moved out of my family's house onto my own, into a home that didn't even have an operable kitchen for 3 months, and slept on the fucking floor of my office, a foot and a half behind my chair, behind my desk, every single goddamn day, sleeping with a basic comforter that my parents bought me when I moved out and a pillow from the couch, working 14 hours a day on this shit. Because to be honest with you, that's what it takes. If you want to make your dreams come true, you can't pussyfoot around, you can't beat around the bush, you can't sit here and throw opportunities away and think that you have the space or the comfort to not, you know, take a risk. I dropped out of college to chase this shit. I threw my future away for YouTube. And I worked my fucking ass off to make sure I'm at where I'm at today. Every single day posting videos, coming up with strategies, getting gameplay, coming up with content. That's what it takes. The people who are really successful in this career field, in these industries of creating content like this, it's the people who work their ass off. It's the people who get up every day with the mentality of, I can't slow down. So if you want to sit around and make excuses and say that a 3-bedroom house wasn't good enough for you and your friends to work in, that's fine. But don't sit here and tell me you deserved the opportunity. Don't sit here and tell me you deserve to have the opportunity to work for a brand like this and get handed money like this. It's okay to not put in the work, but don't expect something for nothing. And Nadeshot kind of shared the same sentiment in this clip.
And I don't want to bring the other individuals that are a part of the mob into this, but the proof is in the pudding. Guys, I had thought that we were giving them a big opportunity, okay? From individuals that were averaging just a couple hundred viewers, if not lower some days, having them be a part of a tier 1 organization like 100 Thieves, I thought, on top of the fact that we brought them out to LA, and we moved 4 best friends into a home together, I thought that this could only be productive. This could only be, the perfect situation and scenario for all of these guys. They didn't work. They didn't make videos. They didn't stream. They got here, and we'll never know why it is that it panned out the way that it did. But if you really want to go look at stats, and you really want to look at the work that was done while we're bringing these deals in, while we're paying these salaries, and while we're supporting them as much as we can with the employees that we have, the resources that we've created for ourselves, and the platform that we have built along with our community, that mentality that we had back in the day where you eat what you kill, they weren't uploading.
So one of the big points that Nadeshot ended up making against Froste here is they just didn't do enough work. I mean, the truth is the mob got signed to 100 Thieves and kind of just disappeared. I mean, Froste himself hasn't been live on Twitch in 3 months. 3 months, dude. And you want this to be a full-time career for you? You want this opportunity to be handed to you and be taken seriously? And you can't stream once in 3 months? Imagine if I went 3 months without uploading to my YouTube channel, okay? I've done it for like 3 weeks, and it's damn near killed my channel. 3 months? You can't find the time or the effort to put in a little bit of work in 3 months, man? But yet you expected for 100 Thieves to basically carry you through this and pay you how much again? And that's what's insane. He's making it out like they weren't getting paid enough, you know what I mean? There's 4 people in this house getting paid 60 grand a year. That is $250,000 a year between the 4 of them. That rent would have been $120,000 out of all that, right? So between the 4 of them at that point after, you now have what, 130 grand left to play around with? Also keep in mind, there were plenty of other opportunities for them to make all kinds of money, you know what I mean? They had sponsorship opportunities, and if they just streamed more often, they could have made money through that, but that wasn't good enough. Putting in the work, putting in the effort that every other creator has to in order to make the actual results pay off, that wasn't good enough, you know? They wanted pay for nothing, it seems like. At least Froste did. I don't see it coming out any other way, you know what I mean? And the funny thing is Froste even openly admitted that he was part of the problem.
I need you to remember that we were a group, okay? So yeah, I stream 40 hours a month on my channel. We also got to remember the streams that I did with Ava on his channel, or with Mako on his channel, or with Classify on his channel. Okay, so yeah, like, you can pull up the statistics all you want, but that's not the full picture. And you know that. You know that damn well. Like, me and Ava, we would play those scary games. It would be like 8-10 hour streams. Those don't count towards my time. So sure. And I've already taken responsibility for that. Like, yeah, I definitely could have grinded a whole lot harder. But the conditions that we were in, bro, it's not a place that makes you want to grind.
Like, you're sitting here telling me that you could have grinded so much harder, but yet it's not your fault that the opportunity passed you up. You didn't give it your 100%. You didn't give it your all. You didn't put everything into it. But yet, you're surprised that it didn't work out for you. Like, it literally doesn't even make sense, you know what I mean? Now, the last point I want to talk about here is what I'll call the $200,000 deal. So essentially, there was a $200K deal being brokered for the mob. It was like a sponsorship opportunity or whatever. Of course, 100 Thieves was going to take a cut of that, but according to what I've read online, this would have netted each individual member of the mob $30,000 if they simply went through with it, but they failed to deliver basically the product for the marketing campaign. So they basically threw away a $30,000 per person opportunity that could have, changed their lives, could have made them all this money. So you got to think about it this way. Guaranteed money, he threw away the $60,000 a year, he threw away a $30,000 sponsorship, threw away all the other sponsorship opportunities, threw away all the streaming opportunities, all the merch opportunities. Like, this guy could have legitimately been making 6 figures a year working for 100 Thieves in Los Angeles, one of the most beautiful places on earth. Or, if you ask some people, one of the worst places on earth. But I digress, right? But I'm supposed to believe you want to put the effort forward to make this actually happen, and you can't stream, you can't make content? Like, it doesn't make sense, man. Like, make it make sense. It comes off as he wanted the opportunity, he wanted the money that came along with it, but he didn't want to put in the work, and that's exactly what Nadeshot had to say. At the end of the day, the numbers didn't justify anything. the progress didn't justify anything, and there just wasn't enough work done. And when you're trying to grind your ass off in the content creator sphere, and you're trying to get to the top of this, and you're trying to really work for it, man, you gotta be willing to put in those hours. You gotta be willing to make some sacrifices. Like I said, not all of us get this opportunity, you know what I mean? There's people out there that dream of this, and they'll never have a chance to do it, but you threw that opportunity away like it was nothing, and now you're mad about it. Like, I wish I could be paid $60,000 a year to be a member of 100 Thieves. That would be an incredible opportunity, but it wasn't good enough, you know what I mean? It wasn't good enough to put the work in and put the effort in, and that's the problem. I feel like it's kind of like a societal problem a little bit. I feel like people nowadays, they want the results, they want the progress, you know, they want to say that they're famous on the internet, or that they've got a big channel, and that they make all this money, and they have all these fans, but they don't want to be that guy that wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning and works their ass off until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I'm not saying you got to do like unhealthy schedules even to like succeed in the career field, but from what I've noticed, those of us who made the ultimate sacrifice for content creation, you know, dropping out of college, throwing your future away potentially, because you say, fuck that, I'm not going back to the pizza shop, I'm not going back to college, I'm not doing this again. You know, those are the people that end up taking off. Those are the people that succeed. One thing I've learned in my life is there's always going to be someone willing to outwork you. And the people who are willing to outwork you are the ones that opportunities are going to go to. That's pretty much everything I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the 100 Thieves drama and signing out.